State for scenery, and we've got an abundant variety of it to look at. You don't have to decide ahead of time, just come on out and take your pick. You can have it rugged, like up in Olympic National Park, or you can have the wide open spaces, just a matter of choice. You name it, we've got it. Visitors to Washington State somehow seem to expect mountains with trees and find taxi for Paris. There's Mount Baker, and two of our biggest, Mount Adams and Mount Rainier, Mount Shuksan, and Mount St. Helens down by Spirit Lake. There are little lakes and rustic scenery, camping areas and lodge accommodations right close at hand, too. If you're one of the don't fence me in brand of people, you'll be right at home here. No fences, no keep off the grass signs. You can get out, stretch, roam around, ski, even get out and throw snowballs in July if that's what you've a mind to do. Another part of this study reveals a lot of people like to look at water, particularly the clean-looking water like we've always had out here. This being the westernmost part of the country naturally calls for the Pacific Ocean to be right close at hand. On the coastal region, we have lots of fine beaches and recreation areas for people to enjoy. Back in from the ocean a ways on Puget Sound, there's a group of 172 islands that attracts a lot of visitors. This San Juan group has scenery, history, recreation, and relaxation for those who want to enjoy them. Most anywhere along our inland waterways, the Washington State ferry system lets you go to sea right in your own car. These inland waterways provide shipping lanes as well as mile after nautical mile of charted waters for cruising and recreation. In many places you can drive right over as well as around deep, saltwater Puget Sound on such magnificent bridges as you find at the Tacoma Narrows and Deception Pass. And these same roads take you the full length of Hood's Canal. There's some beautiful, beautiful homes in this area. And ocean-going vessels as large as a Navy aircraft carrier can steam right up into Puget Sound. Inland from the Okanagan Valley to Newport and back out to the ocean, there are more lakes than you can count. And, like our mountains, big ones and little ones. There are a lot of them that you can navigate in a rowboat. But some of the big ones will take you a day in a cruiser to make a round trip from just one end to the other. People who came out here early and started putting names on things did a pretty good job. Lakes, for example, got called Chelan, Diamond, Crescent, Quinault, Shannon, and of course we have a Lake Washington too. put into streams and rivers, many of them in rugged areas for those who really like to get next to nature. Others, like in Spokane, wound up running right through the middle of town. Best reports indicate that the granddaddy of them all is the mighty Columbia. It's the big one, the Columbia. In fact, it's so big that people harness the Columbia to make it work for irrigation, hydroelectric power, slackwater navigation. These dams, like Chief Joseph, McNary, Bonneville, Grand Coulee, all mean a lot of things that make Washington State a better place to visit and a better place to live in. Take a place that has good water, add rich soil, mixed with 4 seasons of weather, and you find things growing. For example, the rhododendron, Washington State flower, grows wild in many places. To see the Capitol at Olympia makes you think there must have been a lot of people with green thumbs settled here. Every city, every town has a park, and most of them with very special landscaping and flower beds. Also discloses that many communities hold annual festivals or celebrations honoring the things that flourish near them. Lilac Festival, Rhododendron Festival, Daffodil Festival, the Sea Fair, Apple Blossom Festival. And when you get into the blossom department, remember that some of these blossoms lead to some of the world's finest fruit grown right here in Washington State, in areas like the Wenatchee and Yakima valleys. City cliff dwellers hardly believe their eyes when they see rich stands of grain ripening in the sun on thousands and thousands of acres of fertile fields. That much grain means a lot of food. And here's some food for thought. Most people on holiday aren't looking for a lot of mental exercise or thinking to do, but if history interests you, Washington State has many points of interest like restored Fort Nisqually at Tacoma, and areas around Walla Walla and Vancouver that are just loaded with historical significance. On the other hand, if you're one who's intrigued by the romance of the sea, you migrate to where big steamships from far-off places are unloading cargo, or head for the docks where fishing fleets tie up with purse seiners and gill netters row on row. Like mountains and lakes, when it comes to fishing fleets, we've got big ones and little ones, even down to the picturesque Indian dugout canoes, still being used by the descendants of a people that got into the Washington State area long before we did. Hand-wrought from a single tree trunk, these ancient dugouts reflect the true craftsmanship and primitive ingenuity of these early people. Well, anyway, most of them do. Study reveals that people who came out to settle in Washington State built quite a network of A1 highways all over the state. Up through the mountains go these safe, hard-surfaced highways. In fact, they make it easier to get to all these places that are interesting to look at, and take people to places where they can do things like going swimming and soaking up a lot of sunshine. Yeah, people seem to like to have things to do after they get here. And you know, with 2 national parks and a good 50 state parks, there are plenty of attractive places for an outing or a picnic. courses in every part of Washington State. Challenge the pro and delight the duffer. By all means, bring along your clubs. Of course, you don't really have to bring them along. You can rent them at nearly every course. Steady. Good. 6 over par. Isaac Walton sure must have had this area in mind when he started people thinking they were smarter than fish. Out here we've got some real cooperative fish. They just love to get caught and give you a real tussle. But you catch them, we start new ones. Washington State is out west, you know, and dude ranches and rodeos will give you a real sample of that western excitement. Lakes and waterways offer a variety of water sports and cruises and events like races that even a landlubber can enjoy from right up on shore. A lot of people are interested in things like this steel and concrete floating bridge over Lake Washington. People come to Washington State when they're looking for scenery and a variety of things to do. In a day's time, you can go from mountain snowfields to stretch in the wide open spaces with a typical western flavor, and then still have time to fish, swim, wade, or loaf on the Pacific Ocean coastline. From sea level to ski level, vacation's great in Washington State. Oh, I wish I had more time to tell you about this playground of the Pacific Northwest. If you'd like more information to study at your leisure, just mail us your request and we'll send you this full-color illustrated folder. It contains a map, pictures, and information about the many things you can see and do in Washington State. Send your request to the Tourist Division, State Capitol, Olympia, Washington, and be sure to let us know your name and return address. Now we're waiting to hear from you. We'd like to have you see and enjoy the many things we have in Washington State.